let's do another example here. What I want to do is I'm going to create an object. I'm going to call it foo. It's going to be an object. I'm going to give it a couple of properties. I'm going to give it a selector, and I'll say this is going to be h1 first child. So this is going to be the h1, which is the first child of its parent, which is going to be up here. And I'm going to give it a text value of hello. And when I ask it to render, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to give it a function, and I'm going to say this, document query selector, this selector, because it's going to be bound to this object when I call it, and I'll specify that I want its inner HTML to equal this dot text. And now I can call foo dot render, and I should see hello. Well, what if I wanted to do this with the second object? Well, I would have to take all this, and I'm just going to change this to foo2. This is going to be the last child. This will be world. And I'm going to tell not only foo to render, but foo2 to render. And this will end up working. One of the things we could see is that it's really redundant to have all of this over here. So instead, what I could do is do something which would be a constructor, a factory function. And I'll call this foo constructor. And this is going to be a function. So we'll say foo constructor is in fact a function. And what we're going to do here is we're going to return this type of object. So we're just going to return an object here. We've got our render method. I think I'm missing a brace here. Let's indent a little bit so we can see this a little bit better. And so what we'll do here is that we'll pass in two pieces of information. We'll pass in the selector and the text. And when we do that, this could go away, and this could go away. And what we could do here is we can end up creating a foo and a foo2. Let's do one of these at a time. And we'll say foo1 equals foo constructor. We'll pass in our h1 first for the selector, the word hello, and we'll tell foo1 we want you to render. We're getting back this object, and this is going to be first child. I did that incorrectly. So we see hello back here, and we've saved a lot of typing. So this allows us, to go over here and do foo2, and do last child, and do world. And again, I'm calling this a constructor function. It's really a factory function. Let's call it foo factory. This returns an object. And that object has two properties and a method. And this dries out my code a little bit. All right, so now I can really make as many of these as I want to. And let's just make sure that we tell our foo2 to render as well. So now this is working, and we've set up a factory function. And let's talk about next about ways we can do this that might make this a bit more efficient.